So, thank you. Well, I'm here this evening. My name is Erwin Flashman. I'm with at 1327 Buttermilk Lane, which is what I always used to say when I was appealing for the board. And now I'm part of it, so they don't let me say it anymore.
We know where you live, Erwin.
I've said it so many times, it's engraved on your brains. I am the board secretary and representative of the Lake Ann Followers District. And so this evening we are going to have a listening session, ask or make comments or ask questions. And we also, I see, have a substantial number of candidates, and we will offer them each an opportunity to speak to you for 3 minutes each. We have a number of board members here as well. We have, first of all, the president of the board, Sarah Salvarez de Souza, who is waving in the back there. We have Bob Latrine, who is the treasurer. We have John Farrell, who is representative at large. And we have Margaret Perry, also at large. No, I'm sorry. You are representing Huntersville Dogwood. And Travis Johnson, who is representing at large. Now, and we also have a number of candidates, including John Farrell, Margaret Perry, Trevor Greinwatch,
Speak into the mic.
And Travis Johnson. All of whom are running for various seats on the board. We also have a fair number of staff here with us. We have Matt Cummins, who is the CEO. We're very pleased to have him here this evening, and he will speak to us briefly a little bit further on in the program. We have Larry Butler, who is the Chief Operating Officer, and who has said that he is leaving us as of June 23rd. And he has been otherwise called Mr. Reston Association, or Mr. RA, sure. He's been with the association for almost as long as the association has been in existence.
Very close.
We have Chris Shoemaker, and he is in charge of capital projects. He will be speaking to us tonight, briefly. And we also have Laura Kowalski, who is the Director of Recreation, Environmental Education, and Member Services. And she will also speak to us, and she's in the back here. We have Hot Rock. She's in charge of volunteer services. And we have Philip Williams, who is taking care of the camera. Did I miss anybody? No? Okay. This evening is the third listening session that has been held. There has been one held at Huntersville Dogwood and one held for North Point. And there will be another one held for South Lakes later on in March. And there will be 2 sessions. One will be a virtual session and the other will be an in-person session for at-large candidates, at-large listening. You can attend any one of those sessions, or all of them if you like, and make comments, or just listen. In the past, we've had these kinds of listening sessions at a different time in the year, and with COVID, they were virtual sessions, and this is the first time after COVID that we are holding them in person. This is also unique in the sense that we are holding them at a time when the election campaign is underway for the board. Other times the listening sessions have been at a different time, and so there has been no conflict or interconnection between the campaigns and the listening sessions. So generally, we are here to listen to you. You can feel free to raise your hand at any time, but I ask you that you please do that so that we can recognize you. When you do, please say your name and your address. And If you would prefer not to speak, but would like to submit a question anyhow, there are some cards, you can write them down and submit them to the staff. We have them up here. Try to read them off. We ask that there are not a lot of people here who are other than staff or board members or candidates, but so you can ask the questions as long as you want. I don't see any reason to limit your time. We'll limit the time on the we do, the election commences, or the campaign has already commenced for the election. Voting period is from March 1st to March 31st at 5, and it closes at 5 p.m., which is to say that you must have your ballot received by 5 p.m. If it is not received by that time, it won't be counted. So it's important to vote and over, not often. So this evening we will cover certain areas. As I mentioned, we'll cover the status of capital projects. We will cover member services. And we will cover also the status of Preston Town Center North and what is going on with that. And so I think that without further ado for the moment, I will ask the candidates if they so desire, they don't have to. You can have 3 minutes. If you raise your hand, we'll know by order of those who want to raise their hand. Do I see no hands?
Do you want?
I'm happy to be last.
The candidates feel, I guess, that they're well enough known that they don't need to speak.
It's the first timer. So my name is Trevor Grauwach, and I know I've introduced myself to a number of folks in this room a few times, but for those that don't know me, I live in the South Lakes area, 11305 Taft Rail, and I have a unique perspective to this area. I actually grew up here. I was born at a home just behind the Fox Mill Shopping Center. So I got a chance to use the pool, the trails, the lakes, played for the Reston Soccer youth group growing up, played for the Reston Raiders and ice hockey growing up, and really I now bring a perspective of both what it's like to use and be a part of this community as a child and also now as an adult who's brought my family back to this area to establish my roots. And I now have a 7-month-old daughter that we're really excited to get her to the pools for the first time this year. So I don't bring a kind of a preconceived notion of RA or hot button agenda topics that I absolutely think have to be pushed on day one. I'm here and plan to attend all these listening sessions because I think listening is one of the best ways that we can fully engage and be a part and give back to this community. And that's what I hope to be able to do to a group of people in a community that's done so much for me growing up. So thanks for your consideration. And
You're running for what?
I'm running for the 2-year at-large position. So thanks for your consideration, and it's nice to meet you.
Thank you. Any other candidates desire to speak?
Sure. Hi. Almost all of you know me. I'm John Farrell. I've lived here, and forgive me, I took a fall, and so I need to check my notes just to make sure I cover everything I want to say. Those of you who know me know that I've been a passionate member of our community for 39 years. I've lived here and have been involved in the community for all of them. My friends here from LACA know that I've been working with their fellow board members in LACA to try and improve the operation of the plaza and improve the transparency of the operations of the Lake Ann Condominium Association and getting them resolving some issues that have been plaguing them for years. I joined the board 9 months ago, and I believe I've made a strong contribution. I've actively promoted transparency and fiscal accountability for all of our association activities. I've employed my land use expertise to seek quality of life enhancements to the Reston Master Plan. I've spearheaded the Reston First Professional Parks and Recreation Survey to better understand the desires of all 63,000 people who live here. That survey, by the way, will launch in May, and I hope you all participate, so that we can understand the desires of all of our members here. I've successfully advocated to save all of the open space at both golf courses, and together with my colleagues have hired a highly qualified CEO. Don't let us down, Mac. That's in a short time. There's still lots more to do. I want to ensure that recreational money from residential developers is given to RA to help pay for the renewal of our fabulous facilities and open space. I want to insist that all new development in Reston, all departments join the Reston Association. If that happens, our assessments can get down by $50 to $100 each. I want to ensure that the master plan preserves and enhances the quality of life for Restonians, not just maximizing profits for developers or tax revenues for the county. And I'll bring my experience as a townhouse cluster president to board deliberations and seek solutions to the surge in trash hauling fees and service cuts that we've all experienced in the last several months. To do that and so much more, I ask for your vote for the 3-year term on the at-large position for the board. And thanks for listening.
Hi, I'm Travis Johnson. I have actually lived in Reston since 2006. I have to do the math sometimes because it was when my daughter moved to Reston the day of my daughter's first birthday, which she told me was a great day from time to time. She didn't get her first birthday party. But we've loved it here the entire time, and Reston has become very dear to us. This is the place that when she goes to college in the fall, I want her to come back to and call home. And when my younger daughter goes off to college and they both go off into their larger lives, I want them to both we enthusiastically come back to Reston because they have lived the live, work, play motto here their entire lives. I have a background as a consultant for federal government, largely doing process improvement, and one of my key goals as a member of the board will be to work with MAC and staff to move along our process improvement efforts, to find what works, replicate that, make it stronger, and find what doesn't work, get rid of it. I'd also like to make sure that I can use my experience as a condo board member for several years back in Alexandria when my wife and I first got married. I'd like to bring that experience to bear to be a good steward of Reston's financial resources. And then lastly, I want to be here to do exactly what we're doing today, and that's to listen. I want to hear what Restonians want. I want to hear what their needs are, and want to be conduit for that information back to the board and turn those needs and wants into actionable activities. That's all. Thank you very much.
Just so you don't have to look at my back. I'm Bob Petrini, and I'm running for the 1-year at-large seat. And I've been on the board for three years now, and have also during that time been the association's treasurer. So what my responsibilities have been and will be for the next year, I hope, will be to work with staff to make sure that we provide meaningful financial information and analysis to the members. Pretty simply stated. A lot is going on here in Reston. We have 1,400 assets, according to what I know our capital projects manager will speak to in a bit. They are very expensive. We are now in the process of renewing those assets, renovating them, and in some cases, replacing them completely. Case in point,
Lake Thorold Pool. It's $3.7 million, 3.9 million for that one pool. In the next 5 years, we are projected right now, according to our 5-year capital plan, to spend $18 million. Over the next 30 years, using the reserve study that we are obligated every 5 years to update, we could spend as much as $145 million to just maintain the assets that we have. So we've got to think smart, we've got to plan, we have the staff, we have the ability to do so and keep everything manageable. So that's my message. Keep it manageable. And please vote. Please vote. Whether you vote for me, I can live. If I'm not. But please get out and vote. Thank you.
So it appears I'm last, and I'm shortest, but I'm not least. So my name is Margaret Perry. I am also running for the 3-year position for at-large. I am currently the appointed director for the Hunters Woods Dogwood District, and that is the position Travis is running for. Please note that if you live in Tall Oaks Lake Ann District, you can't vote for Travis, but if you know people in the Hunters Woods Dogwood District, they can. So please let them know to vote too. I don't have a lot to say because honestly, we're here to listen to you, not you listen to us. I do have a website. It's mperry, so that's Margaret, PERRY-Reston.com. It gives you a lot of information about me. It includes a quick little survey. If you want to throw out some information to me, you can include your information or not. And you can also reach me by phone or email. The reality is we do have a lot of great things about Reston. And the only way to continue that path and move forward for the future is to grow smartly and really take a hard look at where we want to be in the future. So I do encourage you, like Bob said, please vote and check out my website if you have any questions. I will be here at the end of the meeting. I'd be happy to speak with anyone. Thank you.
Thank you all candidates. No other candidates wishing to speak. So,
You didn't file, John.
again, I'd like to ask Matt Cummings to come up and speak to us a bit about Reston Town Center North. Here's Matt.
So I'll be super brief. We're also here to answer any questions that are here between myself and Larry and a number of our key staff. So we're never sure exactly what everybody's going to want to hear in each of the districts, but we try to prepare a few remarks based on issues we think are floating around out there. So we'll give you a little update on some capital things and some things going on in our member services group. Specifically, Erwin and I talked about doing just a super brief update, and we did this for the North Point District last week as well for the Lake House. I'm sure everybody is tracking, and people talk about growth, city planning, development, things going on in and around the town center. What maybe not everybody knows is how RA is playing a role in that, and how important it is for RA to stay engaged and continue to play a role going forward. So specifically, I'm just going to speak to the piece that, so I just moved here, by the way, so we're real good on, little anagrams and small letters. So you'll hear a lot of us rattle this stuff off. I'm getting assimilated now. So you'll hear RTCN, and that means something to everybody. Yeah. So Reston Town Center is the RTC, and the N means north. And so if you're all familiar generally with the layout over here on the western side of Reston Parkway south of Baron Cameron, you'll know where all the really big buildings are, and the area north of that is the last of the major planning areas that are occurring as part of the RTC development. The reason it's fairly important for us to be paying attention to all of that is the county's just beginning the major planning components of what that's going to look like, particularly around public facilities. And as you know, there's a government center over there, shelter, there's there's library, and there's a whole lot of affordable housing and other things that are out there. The other thing that's of particular interest to RA is that there will be parks that are provided as part of a memorandum of understanding between RA and the county. And that was specifically put in place years ago so that the impact of that development would be offset by some facilities that our residents will be able to use, as well. So as we're blending urbanity and suburban growth in and around this whole RTC area, there is contemplation that the two entities, meaning Fairfax County and RA, are going to be working on some of this. Now, one of the reasons that I'm mentioning this at some of the listening sessions is, number one of the things that I have observed as I'm out in the community, there are a lot of folks who don't know what RA's role is in some of this. I get questions all the time about why RA is issuing building permits. We don't actually issue building permits, but we are highly influential with Fairfax County, on a number of these things. So here's the current status of the RTC North. Supervisor Alcorn has appointed a task force to oversee some of the urban design and layout of some of the main objectives of the planning in that area. And I'm not trying to throw out too much planner jargon at everybody, but one of the key issues is that the comprehensive plan that identifies the policies for future growth in Reston has not yet been fully adopted by the Board of Supervisors. So getting down to the next level, down at the design and layout level, is a little bit premature, a point which has been made multiple times to the county. So we actually have two parallel efforts that normally would be very sequential. And that's happened for a whole lot of reasons, but RA is tracking both efforts with some of our staff and then jumping in with the county as appropriate. So what I thought I might do is just speak to the RTC North task force. So Supervisor Alcorn has appointed a task force to help advise him about what should happen in that RTC North area. They've only had one meeting so far. The RA board asked, and we've been following up, trying to get a seat on that task force. Supervisor Alcorn has decided not to do that. We are staffing the event, and by that what I mean is we are going and tracking, and then I have monthly meetings with Walter along with board president to talk about things that are coming up. This is just one of the several things that we need to be working with him on. So they only had one meeting. The primary discourse at that meeting was how can you be doing the task force if the comp plan hasn't been adopted yet? So a number of people on the task force posed that philosophical question. I'm not sure there was a great answer at that, but they are progressing forward. So the next meeting is going to be in March, and then I'm giving periodic updates to the board on those two things. So for any of you that are tracking the board, you'll see things in our land use updates, primarily they're written by Larry Butler. I keep trying to not let him retire, but he's doing his best to actually walk out of here after 40 years. But you'll see those things in agenda memo format and or videos that you'll see play when the board goes into executive session or takes another break. So at any rate, that's sort of the Cliff's Notes version of what's going on at RTC North. I asked at the Lake or the North Point session if there are any questions for me. So I'm the CEO, but I'm brand new. I'm new to Reston, although my wife officially referred to us as Restonites last weekend, so I don't know if that makes me official or not, but Larry's been here 40 years, so I have three and a half decades more to catch up. So. But I'm happy to field any questions about the overall organization, things we have going on, where you can get information. I've got a stack of business cards if anybody wants one.
Mac, one thing to mention about Reston Town Center North is that area is subject to the deed.
Yeah.
So our design review board will have a lot to say about what those buildings look like and what the layout looks like. So it's a shame that Walter didn't have us involved because we're going to be involved anyway.
Okay.
I can't picture exactly what's there now, but is the idea to extend the existing grade pattern of the central RTC into into RTC North?
Yeah, many of those design things are going to come up through the task force. I don't know, Larry, has anything been floated yet on kind of what that would look like?
Where there's a logical extension that would take Lumont up into Town Center North, but there's a private property there that is contested that alignment. So it may not be a perfect grid going through up there. And the DRB has approved the current layout for that. So it is a grid of streets, a little more curvilinear than what was initially contemplated in the older plan. So it's a work in progress for sure.
Can you tell us, in general, the kinds of things that will be incorporated in the development of that area? I mean, the library, I gather the housing project is a dead duck. Other county facilities, community facilities?
Recreational facilities, the shelter, I mean, all the different kinds of public uses, and they're all spelled out. And then the relationship with the comp plan is the height and density question up there.
And then there'll be residential as well?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just trying to get a
Yeah.
picture. What are the pieces, without knowing the design or how many of each, that kind of thing, what will be the main things? Okay.
Can I just make a quick comment?
Sure.
I would really be happy to see if the existing RTC, which is now 33 years old about, we could spend a long time saying what are the pluses and minuses, but I think it did succeed very, very well on a visual level of referring to the traditional forms of an urban place. And I think it's definitely a success in that field, in that realm. And we have a chance here to extend that rather than, as it is now, you kind of think sort of, you're in the central part of RTC, and then the further you get away, the more it kind of like dribbles out into being conventional suburban development. And I would just like to see us to avail ourselves of that chance to extend, to make it a traditional urban plan.
Okay. Travis?
Yeah, as the new guy, I wasn't here for the conversation with regards to supervisor development. Did he give any reason as to why we didn't see it?
Well, primary reason related to our ability to participate at the DRB level later. And he also commented on having primarily people that are directly adjacent or otherwise most impacted. And we've had plenty of conversations about how impacted RA will in fact be across 60 some odd thousand people. But, yeah. Okay, well, I am not shy at all. So I live just up the road up here, and I was down at the farmer's market every single weekend here. Thanks, John. So if you see me out on the trails, please come by and say hello. I'm still learning everybody's name all over the place, but I really do enjoy running into people. So just reintroduce yourself, and I'll still get to know everybody. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's good that you run into them and not over them. We now have Chris Shoemaker, who is the head of capital projects, and we'll talk to you about what's going on a bit.
Good evening. Chris Shoemaker, Director of Capital Projects Trust Association. I am one member of a three-man team in the department. We oversee, as Bob mentioned, around 1,400 capitalized assets for the association. So depending on which agency or place you go to, capitalization can mean different things. For RA, it means anything over $5,000 and a 3-year life expectancy. So thanks to inflation, that could be a water fountain nowadays, or something as big as a multi-million-dollar pool renovation. So we kind of everything in between. So we do the implementation, the actual execution, construction, and we do all the procurement, all the contracting, all of that. So pretty busy department. So specifically talking about the projects occurring in this district. So last year, we had about a dozen projects equating to just over $500,000 in budgeted work. A couple of the big ticket item projects are the temporary road enhancements. If you guys happen to go by that pavilion, we did a lot of different ADA enhancements. We repaved the parking lot, restriped it, put in rampways, ADA accessible grills, a couple different elements there which definitely help kind of increase its capacity and usage there, we hope. We also did some refurbishment work over at Tall Oaks Pool, so that had the plaster chip out, tile and coping, and replastered as well. So we had that opened earlier last year, albeit, we were running into some other problems with Rich Heights as well, but, those projects can kind of get a lot of hand sometimes. We try to keep them moving as fast as we can. Then the other one is Hook Road Recreation Area. So you guys might, recall a couple years back, we did this Hook Road Working Group. And so this working group was comprised of all the immediate neighbors over there as well as a few other community members about how to kind of re-envision that park area and create a master plan for its redevelopment. So we started kind of that process of site plan approval with Fairfax County, which, John can say it's a very lengthy process to get through the county and all the different various departments over there. So we have filed that site plan. We're going through the comments. We're getting ready to resubmit. The VDOT portion of it, we're going to kind of hold off on for right now because they're going to be the biggest nut to crack on some of that. So we have a lot of different things going on. They're going to phase in over the years. We're going to start off with doing the ball field safety enhancements. We're going to be moving them inward on each other to get them away from the roadway. Because right now you can see the player containment areas, the benches are like about 8 to 10 feet from the curb. We'll also be doing some pathway interconnections within the park as well to make it more user-friendly to kind of get around. Because right now you either have to walk the street or walk on the sidewalks on the opposite side of the actual park area. And there's no internal pathways. So you can't get from one side of the park to the other without actually having to go out and around and back over again. Down the road, we'll be looking at putting in a permanent bathroom pavilion there as well, which was another key element of the working group's plan for this park. So that will be phased in over time. There's a lot of elements to put in something like that over there, since there's currently only porta-johns, which are well used, much to the dismay of some of the players when they really need to go. But we'll be getting that in here in the next couple of years. So for this year, it's a much lighter year than last year. We only have 3 projects scheduled in this district for this year, around $160,000. The biggest one of that is the Hickory Pond dredging project. So just up the road here, right across the way from North Shore Drive, there's a small retention pond there that RA has an ongoing maintenance agreement with the adjoining cluster on maintaining. So we're pretty close to, we have the contract out with the vendor right now. I have to go through some board procurement on that first, where that's cleared. Corey's lined up, DEQ, Army Corps of Engineers. There's about 6 or 7 different people I have to talk to get a project that will actually get done in about a week. We're only going to need to draw about 500 cubic yards of material out of that pond, so it's going to go relatively fast. Unlike, Lake Ann or Lake Ann Canal, which we did a couple of years ago, which was, 10 to 20 times that material or more in quantity. Then we'll also be doing some, lighting enhancements over at Golf Course Island Pool and North Shore interior lighting, just upgrading light fixtures from metal halide or fluorescent to LED, so the lower maintenance costs and help improve our energy efficiency. Something we've been doing in a lot of facilities as they've kind of phased out over time. So with that, I'm happy to answer any other questions. If you ever have questions, you can always contact Capital Projects Department at capitalprojects@reston.org. We also have a map on the RA webpage. If you go to Capital Projects, there's a Google map, and it actually outlines every single capital project scheduled for this year geographically. It gives you the what and the where and just a loose description of the status and how we're doing with it. So that's always a great resource, but when in doubt, I'm happy to reach out and talk to anybody about anything. So, any questions?
What did you say? How long ago was it that you dredged Lake Ann?
Lake Ann Canal, that was done, I think it was in 2020. I think it was right when the pandemic.
Not long ago.
Not long ago, yeah. So we just did the canal and the coves of the lake itself. That's also, we were doing the, not my understanding of it.
That's, imagine one of the clusters paying for that. That's something that has been debated over the years, I think. It's probably not going to resolve.
It's currently not in the capital asset.
Well, I'm new, so I don't
Yeah.
get any
No, I'm good.
training at all. I just September moved in here.
No, I'm just let you know, it's something that comes up from time to time that has an issue, that's all.
And is it hit a dead end, or has it never been resolved, or if it keeps coming up, what's?
From the point of view of the homeowners associations, it's not resolved. Nor is there nobody's in court, nobody's that hasn't gone to war over it, it's just something that's over there to worry about at some future time, I guess that's where I actually was going to raise my hand to say, you did part of that Hook Road project, and the tennis courts looked terrific. I mean, you guys did a really great job on that.
Yeah, that was a great
Nice job.
pilot. So that particular installation was unique in how we actually designed its construction. And it's one we're going to replicate over at Barton Hill when we renovate that court as well. And so we're hoping that with this kind of new design that we've made up, it's actually been working fabulously. We actually haven't found a single structural crack in that court since we renovated it, which is pretty rare for tennis courts. So we're pretty hopeful that it'll last for a significant long time.
One question about, what do you do with those lights? It seems those lights are on sometimes and they don't need to be. Is there any way to put those on sensors so you have the lights on when you got players there, but you don't have the lights on and there's nobody on the courts, that kind of thing?
So that court system does operate individual courts, so you should be able to only light up just the areas that need to be lit, and then there's actually, it's more sophisticated than a lot of the other systems we have, where there's actually two sets of timers. There's a 1 hour player timer, and then there's a master timer. So the master timer only allows it to operate during X amount of time, and then the user timer only operates for an hour. So it should cut off after an hour unless someone reactivates it for another hour.
So you have to turn on your light to play, in effect.
Exactly, yeah. It doesn't just turn on by itself.
Great idea. Thank
And
you.
it's what we're going to be, again, doing at other tennis court facilities as their lighting systems get upgraded.
Big improvement.
And just to follow up, John, Chris, and correct me if I'm wrong, my understanding is if it's set to go off on the master timer at 9, if at 8:30 someone hits that hour timer, it will still go off at 9. It will not, am I correct
Whatever the
on
master
that?
timer sets it off at, so if they try to go, if it was at 10, they do it at 9:30,
Right.
you got 30 minutes and you can't reactivate if
Oops.
you wanted to.
So that master timer doesn't allow it to go beyond the scope that's been set.
Yeah, and we can monitor and control that remotely now, so we don't need to be on site to do it. Okay. Well, as always, reach out, capitalprojects@reston.org if you have any questions.
All right. Laura's going to speak to us about member services.
Good evening. So our department in Live, Work, and Play, or get involved, our department is Play.
Pull the mic down, Laura.
Oh, are you saying I'm short, John?
Yes, no, we can't hear you, that's all.
Okay, so I'll start over. So our department is involved in Live, Work, Play, and Get Involved, and our department is Play. It's truly the fun. And we also have Get Involved. Hog, it's her very own little tagline at the end. She's our volunteer manager, and she has some opportunities that I'll mention tonight. So I'm a kid that grew up in Reston. So I have the unique opportunity to give back to the community that I was very fortunate to grow up in. And my dad's right here. So I thank him for moving here many years ago. Oh, So our department is made up of recreation, which is inclusive of aquatics, camps, tennis, pickleball, community events, and hopefully I remembered all of them. Volunteer Reston, and then there's environmental education, which is the Walker Nature Education Center. And newly, for me, is member services. So I am all ears about your member experience, and so please share with me and with any of our team if there's something that we can do to make your experience better and your homes. So I hope that this is a coffee table staple. Shameless plug. And look, I have a prize for you at the end. There's a box of cookies you can take. But in here, there's our contact information, and there's also, even though it's winter and we have primarily outdoor facilities, there's a lot of fun to be had in Reston. So I encourage you to take a look at this. Please share with your neighbors and participate. Coming up this spring, we have, just here at the plaza, we're participating in Founder's Day with volunteer opportunities, and so you can see Ha, and she can get you all signed up to help on a variety of opportunities, from cleaning up to manning a booth, all kinds of things that you may be interested in. So for member services, we have our location at RA headquarters. We also have staff on site at facilities. So if you see anyone, and Ha over there has a RA shirt on. If you see someone with the RA logo, please say hi. They're very proud to work here and do the work for you. So please talk to them, and if you need something, let them know. And you're welcome to come in, call, take a peek at our website, and see what we can help you with. And one thing, Director Farrell mentioned a community survey that is coming out beginning in May. And I really encourage you all to take that survey. It will help give the association a lot of information to provide to the board of directors to help make decisions on what facility you use, when you use it, when you may want to use it if it's not currently open. So please get involved and take that survey. I was told that we weren't allowed to bring the boats out tonight for you all on the plaza. Those will also be back sometime this spring. So I thank you for your time, and again, please reach out. My name's Laura. Any questions? You're not allowed to have any questions. I'm going to turn to this gentleman over here.
I'm just going to get in trouble if I don't bring this up, which is a resident called me this evening. She is concerned about the Lake Ambreston condo, Larka people having access to the water, to the lake. And I just wondered if, I don't know if this is in your domain or not. Do you know me? I know this has a
Is it for
history, but I don't
programs,
know.
or was there a
Access to
particular
the lake.
issue?
Lake rights,
Mooring rights.
okay,
I'll have to.
I'll take it.
I will have to get back. I'll chat with you afterwards and get your contact information. I can at
Okay.
least provide what we do for mooring, what the requirements for, and then to help you understand, to pass the information along. Would that be helpful?
As long as we're here, she wants it power washed. She wants the wall of the lake power washed and the steps. That had not been on my radar, but I will throw it out there.
Okay. Thank you.
Chris will have that done by June.
Thank you, Chris.
Personally,
Mr. Scheuer,
how is your recruiting for lifeguards?
lifeguard. So thank you for your
Good.
question. So it's going well. It's going swimmingly. It's going well, but I will tell you that we still need more. I won't be shy. Every one of you in this room that would like to get your certification, we will help you get that and put you in the chair. So we do have a great retention rate. Our retention rate right now is kind of going up and down as our employees are looking at internships and summer opportunities. So we're right around 70% retention right now, which is absolutely fantastic, and that's really attributed to the lifeguard management team that recruits and trains along with our HR department. So we've got a ways to go, but we are ahead of where we were last year. So I will glass half full and look forward. But I would charge all of you to take some brochures for lifeguards, and please take them and pass them out in your neighborhood, at the grocery store. I don't know if you're allowed to put them on carts. You're not allowed to put them in mailboxes, but please put them out.
Is there any age limit?
There's 15 and up. That's it, 15 and
Your
up.
father who looks athletic would be allowed.
He's definitely up for
They won't let me
15.
keep beer at the stand.
So Erwin, are you filling out one of the applications? Lifeguard?
I was a lifeguard 100 years ago.
But think about that for if, to swim when you want to swim, to come do the early morning hours or just, there's no restriction for the number of hours. It used to be that we required, you must work 40 hours. We are extremely accommodating and flexible with the hours that people can work. So we accommodate as much as we can. Those people that I mentioned about internships or other opportunities, we go for it, do your thing, and then we will take you for even 2 hours this summer if you'd like to. They have to be trained first, but thank you.
Do you all run the big nice festivals, not festivals, that's one word, but the big nice events like the one at the Nature Center, the Halloween Trail?
Yes.
Do you run those programs as well?
Yes.
And is there a larger selection than just the Halloween Trail?
So we have coming up this summer, we have our spring festival that's coming up, and that information is over there as well. And then we also have our Fairy Festival coming up in July. So lots of activities, and all of that are in branching out, and then also on our website.
Those things are usually oversubscribed. I mean, they're so popular in the community. They're terrific
They are.
activities.
Thank you for volunteering at some of those. I've seen you at the Halloween trail. Yes, sir.
So my goddaughter is coming from Switzerland in August with her 2.5-year-old. And I actually got this, I read it, but my children are 16 and 19.
Okay.
So frankly, I threw it away because they're not interested in that. And tonight I grabbed this because I know that they're coming. Is there anything that you can point me to that maybe a 2.5-year-old,
Lots of things, yes.
Okay, but it's in here?
And so it's in there, and then I'm happy to give you my card too, and we can get you, kind of talk about interests and see if there's, do they like the pool, are they looking for a park? And just give you some options to try, but there's a ton of activities, the pathway system that is between different locations, just taking, this is now me the programmer, right? Just walking along the paths and taking a look, there's printed interpretive signage, but lots of activities. And for our swimming pools, there are facilities that are kind of geared towards different age groups. So Uplands Pool, which is in this district, has a zero depth entry with some tiny pop jets and another just water spray area that would be perfect for 2.5-year-old.
Thank you.
And you're welcome. And 16-year-old, they're welcome to work. Now, we talked about lifeguards, but we do also have camp counselors, and we have maintenance positions, tennis pros, pickleball instructors, and we do have court monitors.
She is good.
Did you mention that RA pays for the certification?
Yes, so we do, so there's no excuse really, for any of you in here. You are absolutely welcome to join us, and we will train you. And we'll even let you take the class one more time if you don't get it right the first time. And make sure that you're fully trained and prepared if you're interested.
Board members cannot.
Maybe not the board members, but yeah.
Through your peak season, how many do you employ?
So the aquatics department, we can grow up to 300, and that is inclusive of our lifeguards, desk attendants, all of our water safety instructors or swim lesson instructors, water fitness instructors. We have sup yoga on the lakes, boat dock attendants that are out here. So we go from a tiny operation to a really large one in a short period of time for from April through October.
Do lifeguards have to be shirtless?
No,
Do they have to be what?
Shirtless.
no, we encourage sun protection too. Any other questions? You sure? This is the fun.
Oh, just since it's being recorded anyway, could you just mention there are programs available for people who'd like to participate that maybe financial
Yes.
assistance is necessary?
So we have in both English and Spanish on the table over there, we have our scholarship program for any youth program. So a lot of people think that it may just be for swimming lessons. It's for tennis, it's for pickleball, it's a youth program, opportunities at our Walker Nature Education Center, and our camps. So, and that's really the most popular. So the information is over there. It's funding by the Friends of Reston. And so anytime that you participate with Friends of Reston, you're giving back to Reston Association. And all of that is funded there.
That's a great catch there, and you know, that's a fundamental part of who we are in Reston, doing that kind of thing. Are these promoted? Are you out in the community promoting these so that people who could avail themselves of it, if they knew about it, are you getting the word out to the people who need to know this?
So we reach out in a variety of ways, and the most effective way that we've found thus far is we have our registration crew that reaches out to those people that have participated in the past. So that's one way. So let's bring you along, because just because you participated last year, we want you in again this year. Let's have some fun. And then we also are in the schools. So our Shalise is our camp registrar, so she was recently at Terrasette Elementary School at one of their nights, and we work with the counselors. So those are the people, the counselors that know which children and families may need direct assistance, and that's where we found has been the best reach.
That's sometimes the hardest part of these programs, is the ability to actually get out there and reach these folks so they know that it's available and can avail themselves of it.
Agreed.
And you're doing that.
That's it.
Thank you very much. We will now open it up to general questions from anyone who'd like to make a question or comment. Tell us how bad or good we're doing, or not at all. Yes.
comment than anything else. My name's Mike Short, and I've lived here since 1984. One of the things, Reston is such a special place. I would hope that if new board members would look at their investment into their communities. Your job is not to save money. Your job is to enhance our lives and use our money wisely. But you know, I'm here because the Reston is so special. And I don't mind paying as long as I get value for that money.
Amen.
That's all I ask. And Reston's a story that's going to go on and on and on. And it's just been a wonderful life experience to be here. It's the one good decision in life.
Well, I'd say at least two. I mean, my goodness.
What if his wife was a teenager?
I want to hear what his wife has to say about that.
It's always nice, I think, for the board to receive a pat on the back. Usually it's slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, but we appreciate it.
I actually was directed at staff, Erwin, not at the board.
Any other comments or observations?
I just, a couple of questions. The wall here that somebody's mentioned in another context, the wall here and the, I don't know what you call it, where the outlet is for the end of the lake where the water drains out into the lakes.
It's the outlet.
An outlet, how about that? Over at South Lakes, I noticed the outlet over there, had some artwork on it, and it looks very nice. I've often wondered why RA doesn't hold one of its contests to have some artwork put on either the outlet or the wall here that has such an effect on the plaza. If there were something like a beautiful mural there by a Reston artist or something. Is that the kind of thing that, is that too much for RA to get involved in? How does that work?
Sarah is involved in something along those lines, if you would like to address that.
Sure, your wife was too. Public Art Reston, Friends of Reston, and RA are looking at collaborating with the Reston Icon Project. You'll hear more about it at our annual meeting. And we're looking at expanding the spillway artwork, which is hugely popular in Lake Thoreau.
Yeah, and I don't mean only Lake Ann necessarily, I mean the other lakes as well.
Right now, the spillway project in Lake Thoreau is spearheaded by the South Lakes Art
STEAM program.
STEAM program with their art teacher. They don't have the bandwidth to expand to all of our lakes, although we would love to. But we are looking at getting involved with Public Art Reston and Friends of Reston to get other artists to do the same.
And our community has more artists per capita, Mr. Schroyer, for instance. And you think that there would be a great way for participation of a large number of people?
Yes.
Sarah, which wall are we talking about?
So two things. The artwork, the STEAM artwork is on the spillway, which is like the concrete little block that you see when you're driving on. Yes.
Yeah.
And then the other point that John's making is the wall that is a debate on who owns it,
This wall right here?
right by the steps.
The big wall up against the townhouses there, where there's all that space there.
Yeah, we're not talking about that wall yet because Mike is in the process of figuring out who owns that wall.
Okay.
So once that's figured out, I'm sure Public Art Reston would love to get involved in that as well.
Thank you.
She has to work with you.
Any other questions, comments, observations?
I got another question. About being a new board member, I'm really catching up on a lot of stuff and looking back through old budgets and so forth. And the space that we're in here now, I'm a little confused on this. And is this owned by Reston Association, this space here? Okay, because I've seen in the past there was some money paid to Larka for the use of this space, and then there was changes to that, and then it all went away. And is there anything you can update me on that history?
My understanding, I don't know much about the history, but my understanding is that this building is owned by Larka?
No.
Owned by the Simon Trust, correct?
Correct.
Owned by the Simon Trust.
And will ultimately do with
And it is
Fairfax County.
leased to Fairfax County for the civic center. Maybe off, and this is paid for through the special district tax fund,
Tax District 5.
tax district fund.
They rent
It's
it.
part of the, it's
We
part of
just
the tax that you pay, that goes to pay for this,
Pay for this,
to be used as the civic center.
for the staffing and the lighting and heating and all that sort of stuff?
And rent. pays rent to
and pays rent to the foundation.
RCC.
Foundation.
The small, no, it's the small tax district number 5, and the small tax district number 5 pays rent to the foundation that owns the place, the trust that owns the place. But it's a nominal amount, but it's fundamentally intended to cover the real estate taxes that are charged to the trust.
And Reston Association and Reston Community Center, while they at times work together, are completely separate entities.
It took me months to figure this out.
There's some people who lived here for decades and still haven't figured it out, so you're doing great.
Any other questions? Yes.
This is a little bit of a sore point. I don't want to get into this too much about the RCC that went away, that did provide money and then doesn't. RA has, over the years, has funded certain things here, some maintenance, some specific activities. At one time, it was the home of the Reston Festival, which was a very big deal. That's not gone away. Is it still possible for RA to chip in to finance some of the activities that are conducted here, or are there plans to do so? Maybe that's a better question.
Larry.
We did last year.
Yeah, sorry, John.
So there was a time back starting in the early 90s where the board of directors signed, I think they did it for like 5 or 6 years, something like that. So the association was provided an easement over basically the Brick Plaza Common area for use. We did very limited maintenance, but really it was a contribution to LARCA, and then it phased out after a number of years.
I think I recall that. I was on the board in the late 90s. I think I recall that.
And I think the most we paid in any given year, I want to say it was maybe $60,000 or $70,000. Then it went down as an annual contribution, and it was really a recognition that it is
Then back to my
space
question.
we were using.
You would be open to like chipping in as you did last year for certain activities that benefit the entire community, that kind of thing? Is that an accurate statement?
Something we can do.
You can.
It's within our purview. I mean,
That's a
we want
staff
to.
decision on the board, but staff did participate in the holiday lighting.
No, I'm saying it is in purview. We're not getting down and discussing specific activities. It's a possibility, and you might be approachable. So
And as an example, the polar dip that we did, the weekend before last, we helped with that.
there you go. Okay.
Last call for questions, comments. Then I shall attempt to wrap up. You should know that, as was mentioned, they're on the lookout for lifeguards, water safety instructors, and they're also looking for camp counselors. So if you know anybody, please have them apply. It's not too early. It might even be getting a little late, particularly for those who require training. And for those who are interested in lifeguards, there is a program where they will subsidize the cost of the training and the certification. You should be aware again of the fact of the election ongoing, and that the close of the election is the 31st of March. You will have the ballots mailed out on the 1st of March. As of 5 o'clock in the afternoon on the 1st of March, you can vote. If you receive your ballot by email.
What seats are up?
I'm sorry?
What seats are up for election?
There is one seat at large for 3 years, one seat at large for 2 years, one seat at large for 1 year, one seat for Hunterswood Dogwood, and one seat for the apartment owners representative, for which you do not, as citizens of Reston, do not get a chance to vote. It is the apartment owners who vote.
Not the apartment building complex owners.
The
Yes,
apartment
not the
owners,
residents,
yes,
right.
who own multiple apartments in.
So people in this room will have 3 people they can vote for.
I'm sorry?
So people who live here in Lake Ann would have 3 people they could vote for on this ballot.
That's right.
That's
Correct.
correct,
Okay.
yes.
The 3 at-large seats.
And the people in Hunterswood Dogwood will have 4 people. So, let's see. There will be, by the way, for the candidates, 2 forums. One will be on the 27th from 7 to 9 p.m.
Next Monday.
That's this coming Monday. And it will be held at RA, however, it will be virtual. The candidates will be together, I believe, but the participation and view will be virtual. And the ones who will be participating in Monday's forum will be those who are candidates for a 3-year term and the foreigners seat. And on Tuesday, we will have those who are candidates for the 2-year term and 1-year term and for Huntersville Doctor. And at the same time, unfortunately, on the 28th, there will be also a virtual listening session for at large. So you get to choose. Or you can split yourself in 2.
2 computers, 2
Or
screens.
assign one to watch, one your wife to watch, or your husband to watch, and watch the other. Camp registration is ongoing. I remember going over to member services once and seeing people desperately lined up saying, "What can you give me?" And it was rather late. So I urge you, if you have children or you know children who would like to be enrolled in the camps, to do it early to avoid the rush. If you have not taken a look at the materials over there, please do. They're all for your benefit. Take as many as you like. And lastly, if you're not subscribed to the RA Weekly Newsletter, I encourage you to do so. It's sent out on Fridays by email. There's lots of information about what things are going on, when meetings are held. It gives you access to information, further information on the website about how to get that information in detail. RA is also on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn, many of which I don't use. Nevertheless, it's there if you want to see it. Some members of our communication team are here tonight. Don't know. Yes, there is.
Specifically me.
Oh. And so he can show you how to follow RA on those communications vehicles. If you want to contact me, the best way to do that is through my telephone, which I'll give you my cell phone, which is 787-565-2294. Do not be surprised, it is a Puerto Rico area code. I lived there for 40 years and I brought the phone here with me, and so I transferred it. It's no longer connected to Puerto Rico, but it's the same number, so don't be surprised if it says. You can also write to me at bodsecretary@reston.org. You'll receive the email today. I want to thank everybody for coming this evening. I enjoyed seeing you all. And I hope to see you again in the coming years. And whenever you have something on your mind, feel free to get in touch with me, please. So with that, I bid you all a